and Earl, dating father, and Sophie. Understood. Our team is the
Oh, hey, what's up? Lost track of time.
Here's the rules of the game. We take turns throwing the ball at each other.
And
And then
yeah, just lost track of time. So I'm starting a little bit late here on the Dear Creative, which is fine. It's a casual thing that we're doing every week here.
If you miss, you're right.
So I've done. What's up, David? What's up, Bryant? I've done a lot of stuff on my page, a lot of asking questions and just, you know, trying to talk to other creatives and see what they have going on, just kind of like filling out and seeing what the landscape is for some of the stuff that we do as creatives making comic books. Sorry, just trying to get a few things up so I can pull from it. It's been a very... What up, Dave? Not much, man. Just out here trying to make these comics. Trying to make it happen. Oh, no, don't want you to zoom in. Zoom out, zoom out. Alright, so in case you did not know it, which is, it's hard to believe that you would not know it, it is Avengers Infinity War Eve. Avengers comes out tomorrow, and it's going to be amazing. Couple announcements. Stealth. The Stealth Kickstarter is live and going on. I'm going to put the link down here. You guys need to go up there and check it out. Throw down a donation. If you can't throw down a donation, toss us up a share, man. Pass it on. Show some other people this book. This book is wicked cool. I've got the preview issue. I'm looking forward very much so to getting the next the actual full issue. What's up, Danny? So go check out that Kickstarter because that's what's up. It's another Short Fuse production coming out of the Red Band stable, and it's a good story. Like I said, I'm very excited to see it. It's already at 60% of the goal, and it's not even been out for a week yet. So let's help Short Fuse and Red Band hit that goal as quickly as possible so you bring that book to life. In other news with Freestyle Comics, Comic Town out on 94 Dilmont Road in Columbus, Ohio, has now been fully stocked with comic books from Freestyle Comics. So if you're out in that area or that's your shop, get our books out there. If you add our books to your pool, you will be you'll get a free print added to your pool the next month. So that's a cool thing. So you should go ahead and do that and go. You should actually kick down the doors at Comic Town and show them how much you want FSK books.
I know it's hard being separated.
I'll also be going through my Avengers my list for the Marvel Universe movie. Shout out to James E. Roach. Hope I'm not pronouncing your name wrong. He tagged us in his new comic book day today. He had a copy of Vigilance #1 from Freestyle Comics. I always love it when people put up pictures of the books that they get from us. It's really cool that people do that. Now, where am I? Coming up on it. All right, so what's going on with Freestyle Comics? We got a lot going on. We got an event that we're planning. We put up the event in our Facebook page, Freestyle Comics Day. That is coming August 11th, and we have a lot of things planned for that. I'll be making announcements and stuff, and the team will be making announcements and stuff about that once we have more concrete things. But we are definitely going to have some fun that day. It will be a fundraiser for FSK, and to get to pay for the production of a book and to get us to some comic book conventions a little further out into the U.S. of A. But you know, so we've been doing a lot of work on that stuff. We've been securing featured artists for it, some performers for it. We've been doing the roundabout on our comics, seeing where we're at on those, trying to wrap them up moving forward. We will have a new announcement of something new coming to FSK soon, as we're wrapping and closing the deal up on that. There's been a lot of meetings and phone conferences and Skype conversations this week with FSK. So a lot of behind the scenes stuff as we're getting ready to attack the comic industry. Some of the stuff I can't say yet because it's not concrete, it's not 100% done yet, or it's still in work and we just don't want to make an announcements for it yet. But lots of stuff. The admin team for Freestyle Komics has been in full blare, attacking and looking for a ton of comic book shows for us to get to. Our social media manager has fully launched and started doing things with our social media yesterday. We are working around, well, some of the stuff has to do with what I want to talk about for Dear Creative. So I posted a bunch of questions about some things. One of the things that we're trying to do is to get into more comic book shops. And if you guys know anything about getting into comic book shops, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's not. And that's it's a lot. So basically, any comic shop that I've tried to get my books into has been, what we have to do is, my book costs $5, right? The shop pays 50% of the cover price to get the book in their shop. Which is just the way it's always been. Any comic shop that I've talked to, or anybody that I know that's talked to any of the comic shops, that's just how it's been. 50% of the cover price, because that's what they do with Diamond and things like that, with the other big books or the bigger studios. So a lot of us comic creators just, not to knock it or anything, but a lot of us comic creators do it because we want to have our books in stores. We want to have our books in comic book shops. We want them to be around. So when people say, hey, where can I pick up your books? They say, hey, we can get them here. So that's what's really important to us, is that the comic book shops are carrying the books. And as us being small-time creators, financially we take a hit on that because we're paying for the printing ourselves. We're paying for the printing ourselves. We're paying for the creative team and all that stuff. You know, a lot of us have budgets, and that's a bit of a loss that we take to get the books in the shops. And that's not a knock against shops. I get it. Shops have to make their money. Shops have to sell books. Is the formula that's been practiced. And it's a conversation that I've had with Victor Dandridge. It's a conversation that I've had with Sean Mack, and, you know, trying to figure out, like, what are some alternate routes. So today, or yesterday or earlier this week, I was just like, you know what, F it. I'm just going to start asking a bunch of questions to other creatives and seeing what they do. Right now, I've been working with my associate editor, Veronica, and she and I have been working on an email blast through MailChimp. MailChimp, I like it. It's pretty cool. I like how you can set up the emails for it. But like an email blast to give you an introduction to what we are doing at Freestyle Komics, what books we have, blase, a nice little cover push here, you know, the tagline for Freestyle Komics, what we're here, what we do, what we're here, and what we're here for, and stuff like that. So I wanted to use this as an open forum to these comic book shops to say, hey, let's open up the doors of communication and see what we can have happen. So some of the ideas that I am talking about, y'all all gotta be so loud. I mean, I know y'all can talk with y'all. I know. So, some of the things that we were talking about, like, what can we do to help? Like, what can we do to entice the comic book shops to want to, you know, get our books or give us a better percentage or something like that? Because at the end of the day, one of the questions, like, maybe I'll just start with the questions. Dear Creative number 15, and this is exactly where I'm at. Dear Creative number 15, whose job is it to sell your comic once it's in a comic shop? I got a ton of answers on this, which I enjoyed, but the majority of what everyone said was that the comic shops, it is the creator's job to sell the comic books, not the comic shop, which 120% is right. You're valid. It's just the comic shop's job to carry the books, and that's even if they want to. So it is on us as creators and creatives to sell our comic books. We need to figure out how to drive traffic to that shop. We need to figure out how to have people in that shop buying and picking up our books, whether that's through book signings, hosting events there, giving out free swag, having promotional posters and things like that up at the shop or whatnot. But it's our job to sell comic books. Hold on. Marcus. So it's like 100% our job to, what's up, Bobby, to sell the books. Juan McGowan, he said cover artist. So my question was, whose job is it to sell your comic once it's the comic shop? He said the cover artist. So it is up to the person that is drawing the cover to be able to draw the attention, to pull you in, to want to pick up that book and check it out. There's some validity in that. To a degree, I do agree with that. What else we got? Jameis Jaquim. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. He said, mine. It is my job. And then he followed up with, nope, the store can't concentrate on each and every book, which is a very valid fact. Therefore, it's up to you to make sure people know about it. James C. Munch from Insane Comics. It's a job of the creator to always be selling their comic. If they get help from anyone else, that's a bonus, but it should always be the job of the creator. Sean Mack came in saluting that comment with a preach. Clifton Hatchett. If no one will pick up the book amidst a sea of other comic books, you will not sell comics. And before you read a comic book to know, and before you read a comic book to know if you like it, you have to be intrigued enough of what you see. So basically, I agree with Juan, cover artists. We got John again, Juan again. Oh yeah, he posted up an example of it. Lincoln. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I don't want to destroy it. What's up, Jenny? What's up, Bobby? What's up, Marcus? What's up, Lamisha? No store is responsible for marketing your items. You are responsible for that. That's why companies have people hired to go to stores and set up displays. At best, you work as a partnership with the store. Cassie LeKey says the cover. Justin says, I'm the one that's supposed to sell the book. Dorfis says the creator. Chris says, I agree, you the creator, but the goal should be your product selling itself. Mike Lancet said, and he gave a pretty thorough, detailed answer here. At first, I thought to myself, well, if they're taking a cut, then they should be selling it for me. And then I thought to myself, when in the hell has an employee at a comic book store ever made the effort to advertise or sell anything in particular? I had to do all the work to produce the book, so I can't expect anything to be different when it comes to the selling aspect. The comic book store is just providing a physical location for people to buy it from. But it's my responsibility to make sure people know how my book exists and where to get it from. Very valid point. What up, Bob? Nothing, man. Just another episode of Dear Creative talking about selling books at comic book shops and how to make it happen and stuff. Yes, so basically the overall feeling was if you created the book, it's your job to sell that book. It's your job to drive the traffic to the comic book shop, which I agree with. I agree with 100%. So it's trying to come up with methods of how to do that helps the shop and yourself. And again, I'm asking these questions because I want to know the landscape. I want to know what other, I am friends with a ton of people that make comic books on Facebook, so I want to know what they're doing in comparison to what I'm doing. My next question that I asked on my page was, what has worked for you to get your comic book in comic book shops? And just to elaborate on that a little bit, is I'm asking like what type of deals or promotions or conversations did you have to use to get your book in there? Because one thing that I think is hilarious is I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I do not have one comic book in any comic book shop in Cleveland, Ohio. And I went up there one day and I walked around to several comic shops trying to talk to owners about it. And I think it's really ridiculous that I'm from Cleveland. I don't have any books up there. But since I've lived down here in Columbus, my comic book art is in 2 galleries, one in the convention center downtown and another one at the King Arts Complex. I've been asked to speak about comic books at the Ohio State University and CCAD, and I've been publishing comic books and been a guest at several comic book conventions in Columbus and outside of the state of Ohio. But I can't get one book in a shop at Cleveland. And a lot of the shop owners in Cleveland, their response to me was, if your book's not in diamond, then I can't get it. And that's what I got a lot of times. David's asking the question. How about an effort to mobilize your tribe? Ask your fans to go to the local comic shops on pull day and tell people about your books. That's a very, very good idea, David. I'm going to have to write that down. That's something that I always talk to people about when I'm at shows or whenever they do buy comic books. I always say, hey, if you really enjoy the book and you want to get more issues, please go to your comic book shop and ask your shop to put this on your pull list. By doing that, that would mean that the shop would have to reach out to Freestyle Komics and place an order with us for us to get those books sent out there. Definitely, if the consumer is asking for the books, the shops are going to put it in there because they want that money. So very good idea. I'm going to like that. I'm going to like that hard. Won't let me. Just going to let me like it. I wanted to put like a love thing on there. All right, so what has worked for you to get your comic book in comic book shops? Let's see here. Oh, yeah, this one. I had Sean French jump on here, man. He gave me, I really like his answer. He got really detailed in it. And that's what I was looking for. Sean says, have kick-ass covers, match diamond rates, offer free signatures if they want them, get their regular customers to request our books and giveaway stuff to stores willing to do an event on launch day and free posters to any store that will hang them, do signings at local shop, give copies of our issues with store rates, and contact info to every comic book store vending at any convention we attend, arrange variant deals with groups that have guaranteed shelf placement in the stores, get endorsement from celebrity and relevant genre, and feature it prominently on the book. I mean, Sean just broke it all the way down, right? And a lot of those ideas I like, and I'm trying to get behind myself. David jumped in here again. Shop, events, meet the creator type of things. David knows what I'm cooking here. David knows what I'm cooking here. Now, a lot of stuff, some of the stuff I do already, like I do book signings, I do comic book events. Freestyle Komics Day will be at Comic Town on August 11th. So we're really jazzed about that. But it's the fact that we need to reach out more and do it more often to get familiar with these shops, to build our relationship with these shops, so the consumers that are going there can recognize you and buy the books. If you do a book signing at a comic shop and people are coming in and buying books directly from your table, and you're selling the first issue and you have multiple issues of your book, then it's kind of a no-brainer for that shop to say, let me get the next set of books, so when they come back, they can buy them. So it's definitely something that we are going to push our narrative on at Freestyle Komics this year. We're definitely going to step it up there. Danny J. Quick, who also has a Kickstarter going, and you should go check him out with his Ace Blade. Building a relationship with owners and events. D. Parsons says, standing out in a crowd. That is actually one of my favorite answers ever, because I try very much so to stand out in a crowd. I don't ever want to, be on the same level as everybody else. And by level, I mean volume, I mean energy, I mean enthusiasm, I mean events, scale. I want to be above it, so we can stand out. Marcel Dupree, talking to owners with issues in hand. Now, see, that's always a good comment right there. You definitely, if you're going into a comic book shop to talk about your book, you definitely want to have the book there so you can look at them. There was one shop I went into, and I showed them the books. Hello, Charlotte. I showed them the books, and they loved them. They were like, "Oh my God, these books are really good!" And I'm not even talking about the story right now, but I'm talking about the production, the art, the quality, the professional finish on the books, the paper quality that we're using on the books. And I think that's a misconception that people have with books that are made by creatives or whatnot, that aren't made mainstream or whatnot, that our books are shoddy and they're not put together well. and not to knock anybody that does make their books and then, you know, Xeroxes and whatnot. But like, I think that's the idea that comic shops have for all of the books that are like that, and it might not match the market that they're trying to sell to. My next question that I asked the community: what is the percentage off the cover price you get to get your book into the comic shop? Now, like I said, what we've been doing is 50-50. Brian Latimer answered, first he said, wow, the crickets are deafening, because nobody had put any comments on this particular post for a couple days. He offers a 40% discount. Most of his books are $350 and an issue for 22 pages, black and white story. I did bump the last issue up to $450 because the math just wasn't there for the retailers. I should point out, though, that I do everything but print the books myself. So my overhead is strictly time, supplies, and print costs. And I love that Brian included that information, because that is important. How much money you're spending on the book does dictate how much you're going to sell the book for. And with Brian doing a ton of the work already himself, excluding the print work, when he's like, print the book, so yeah, he does everything. So, and then his books are black and white also on the interior, just a full color cover. With the books at Freestyle Komics, we have multiple people working on teams. Our books are full color, so that does increase the cost. So our books, we're rocking our books at $5 a issue right now. But didn't get any more responses on that. My next one was, how important is it to you as a creative to be in a comic shop? I got a lot of answers on this one. Let me see here. D. Parsons just said it's important with the heart symbol, and show the image of his book right next to Marvel comic books. And, you know, just the fan in you, that is just a feeling. It's a feeling you want. You want to have it there. You want to be able to walk in the shop and say, that's my book right there. I said, why, and if I may ask, how are your sales at this store? Just, you know, again, probing, asking information, man. You're not going to learn anything if you don't ask any questions. You're not going to learn anything if you don't open up your mouth and talk to people. D responded with, it's important because it's another avenue to get the word out on your work, which I agree with. And sales are great. They sold out of all of his books there. Then I got really detailed into it. So I was like, good to hear. Now I'm curious even more. All right, good to hear, D. Now I'm curious even more, if you don't mind. How many copies did you sell to the store? What was the percentage off? How long did it take to sell out before you had to restock them? Was the release tied to an event at the store? Did you help push traffic to the store? Apologies for being nosy, but I am fact-finding to better execute a strong relationship with shops myself, and talk shop with creatives. And looks like he had no problems answering these questions, because he responded right back. He sold about 20. He sold about 20 comics, 10 at one comic store, 10 at another. The books were $15 a piece, but those books were 60-page books. The store got 10% of what they sold. So they got 10% of that $15. D took the rest home. The books were actually made through Kickstarter, which was super successful, and there were extra books left over from it, so I contacted a few places I enjoyed, and then I agreed to stock. The books kind of disappeared by the first month. They were stocked. Since it was a limited run of this book, physical copies only had 200 in stock, with 180 already sold. So he was able to give me a very detailed breakdown of what he did at the shop and how he got the books in there. Getting 10%, giving the shop 10% off of $15, that's a great damn rate. That's a win-win right there. Juan came back on. There's no feeling like being on the shelf, but it's nice, not necessary. I also agree with that statement as well. It's not needed, but it's nice. It is very nice to have it on there, and it's a great feeling to be able to tell somebody you can get my books here at the shop. I personally carry books around with me in my car at all times, there's a couple shops here in Columbus that carry them. A lot of shops carry them, but I need to restock some of those shops. I need to go back because they were carrying my books back when I was with my old publisher, and now I'm back with I'm back at Freestyle Komics with Short Fuse Media. So I want to get new books restocked with them, with the new logo, with the new covers and things like that. I want to add on there also, it's important to have a schedule for release, because that Well, I'll get into that. Don't let me forget that. CL Bedell, don't let me forget that comment and come back to it. Wow, get in the shop to take on 10%. How in the hell? I offer a 50% split, and even then it's tough at $15 each. Agreed. Lincoln comes back. Farouk Carson. I'm sorry, Lincoln, if I pronounce your name wrong, man. He's saying it is important to have your books in shops if you intend to sell books. Johnny, it wasn't important to me at first, but when I think about myself going to a comic book shop and browsing the countless titles, I think, what if someone comes across my book that way? It's a nostalgic, I can't pronounce anything today, thing, but it's hard for shops to support because they need to make bread as well. John Jennings came on there. John the Legend Jennings. He just recently dropped Black Comic Returns after a successful run of Black Comics Volume 1, which is being printed through Lionforge and everywhere right now. Features several artists of color, including myself, my brother Victor, Ren McKenzie, William Shatterwright, who is the creator of Stealth. Tons of people in there. Go check it out. He says comic shops are nice and all, but all bookstores is better. The direct market is a terrible distribution model, so I tend to go with other options. Rob Anderson, I don't really care unless it's something that the fans request. If fans want me to put books in the shops, and then I'll put my books in those shops. Make sense? Marcel Dupree is saying bookstores over local comic shops. Ramel Hill, fellow Short Fuse family member, is important, but it has to make financial sense. So far, the stores locally like the book, but want to purchase directly from me at 50% off. I sold them a few just to get into the shelves, 10 of each issue, but until I can have a steady supply like issue after issue, I can't negotiate a better percentage. Which again, this is a valid point, and it brings me to some of the stuff that shops are concerned with. What's up, Turf? Other options? Like what other options? Okay, so that brings me to some of the things that we're talking about here. So here's what comic shops are afraid of when they buy a creator-owned book. They are afraid that when they buy the first issue, you're not going to come out with another issue. Or if you come out with another issue, it's going to be very sporadic. It's going to be like 6 months to a year before they get that second issue. And then they'll have people come in and asking for it, and they ain't got another issue to give nobody. Other than that, also concerned with that, sometimes a lot of times people aren't looking for new books like the internet claims that they are. And people just want to buy their Marvel and the DC books, and that's it. And they want to be left alone with it. I will, Turf. I will, man. You have a good night's rest. Honestly, our books take up space. If no one's buying the books, our books are sitting up there and they're taking up shelf space. And so your books have to be able to move. You have to have a crowd or audience that are coming in to get those books. Marvin Wynn jumped on there, another Short Fuse family member. It is a driver to have your books at stores. It's a good feeling to have people in the shop ask what is next, or to know they're talking about a book when you're not around. Like Ramil said, though, being able to negotiate a good price is key. If you're not good at the numbers, if you're not good at the number and the books do not move, then that store's going to ignore you. The key is to set a standard of quality and reliability. So my next question was planning. No, that was actually a comment. Planning and talking through ideas are important. And that was more in regards to everything that I've been discussing with the administration team and stuff for Freestyle Komics and what we have planning and going on, which we will be announcing shortly. I may be announcing that at the next on the next year creative episode. 10% off for 50 Flint. Dang it, and I forgot that quick, David. I forgot that quick.
Can you give me the controller? You want me to put speaking back on?
Yeah.
Give me the controller. Right here on the chair. Look on the chair. Thank you. I didn't ask for bubbles.
All right, so I lost track that fast of what I was going to say. I should have said it just right at that moment when I had it. So if you want to go into comic shops and you want to be able to be legitimate, and even if you want to be able to negotiate a better percentage, which I have not been successful at. I've been at the 50-50. I'm trying to figure out, is there a way to get a better percentage? Hence me asking the creative community what they're doing, what they have, what they've gotten, what they're shooting for. But key, you've got to be able to, you've got to have multiple books. You got to have multiple books, and you've got to have books that are coming out on a schedule. So one of the things that we are presenting, because we have about 21 comics right now. And so what I want to pitch to comic shops is that we'll have a book coming out every month. So if we start in January, for example, just to keep it simple, Hotshot #1 drops in January. Vigilance #2 Vigilance #1. Actually, no, Hotshot #2 drops in February. Hotshot #3 drops in March. Hotshot #4 drops in April. Hotshot #5, so on and so forth. Then so after Hotshot 5 drops in May, Vigilance #1 drops in June, and then Heroes International #1 drops the next month. So basically, you'll get a book every month, but it'll be a different book. But you'll have something consistently coming out every single month from Freestyle Komics. So we're talking about 21 months of content that's already out there, right? I want to keep a newsletter in the books, kind of like how Marvel Comics used to do back in the day, like a bullpen newsletter, to let people know that we're going to give you 21 months of consistent comic book content. Once we get towards the end of that run, we're going to be releasing our books every other month. And the goal being for the fact that that 21-month time, we're going to be kind of like subtly training you. So like the first 10 months or first 12 months, we'll have a book coming out every month. Then after that year of doing that, we'll go to every other month. But you're still getting a new book. Keeping it relevant and stuff. But while all those books are coming out that whole time, we're working on new comic books. So we start building up these books in the hole and keeping them going. So technically, we have 5 titles with 1 limited series coming out, and 6 titles, I'm sorry, and 1 limited series coming out. So that gives us anywhere between 5 to 6 months to work on 1 comic book before it's due up again. So that's what we're trying to play around with. It's not all the way worked out or whatnot, but these are ideas and stuff that we're looking at. So in your opinion, do you have to be in shops to be considered legitimate? I don't think you have to be in shops to consider it legitimate. To be in a comic shop is more of, like I said, a nice thing, something that you want to add to your resume of accomplishments. Like, yeah, I got into a comic shop. That's great. Maybe the first time that you do it, just to have that approval from a comic shop owner, thinking that your book is quality enough to be in the shop or whatnot. But I don't think you need it to be legitimate. The moment that you have a comic book and you're able to talk to somebody and collect money from them in exchange for the book, you are legitimate. The moment that you can go to a comic book convention and stand shoulder to shoulder next to other vendors, other creators, other comic book people, and sell books right next to them, you are legitimate. Matter of fact, the moment you make a comic book, you publish that comic book, you print that comic book, you have comics, you are legitimate. You have a book. The fact of being in the store is just sprinkles on top of it. Wow. That looks like those are all the questions. Does anybody else got any more questions? Oh shoot, David came in with a big one. Or if there's a question or comment, what if you did electronic online subscription model for the issue, then each year offer physical trade paperback annual with some bonus content for fans? I would think you could find a good print-on-demand company to do this. Actually, we do have a good print company, and they're called Page by Page Copies and Finishing. They do some of my printing, and Shortfuse has an exclusive printer as well. You can also do limited edition hard copies of individual issues at cons. I'm sure you thought of all of this, but I'm just riffing, man. No, actually, David, I did not think about that. That's a pretty spry idea. Nothing like that ever occurred to me to do something like that. David coming in with the killer suggestions, man.
No, look up here.
Alrighty.
Hey, who's the wise guy?
So, guys, I'm super ecstatic about
Steven, just run around.
about Avengers Infinity War dropping out tomorrow. My wife and my kids are coming with me. We've had our tickets since the trailer release, the announcement trailer for the tickets to go buy the tickets. And I've never done that before. Bought tickets the moment the trailer dropped and said tickets are available now. I've never done that nonsense. But I did for this. Super, super ecstatic. My predictions right now is I think Tony Stark is definitely going to die. I think he has to die. And I think that needs to happen so we feel it as fans. It's to me, it's almost where the narrative is leading for them to suffer a great loss that's going to rally them together. Coulson was a fan favorite character, and a lot of people did not like it. It hurt their feelings when he got killed in Avengers, and then the Avengers had something to avenge. So to echo some of those words that Tony said in Avengers 1, which I went back and watched, they will avenge the Earth. They'll avenge whatever they need to avenge because they're Avengers. And I think Hulk and Bruce Banner are going to get split in this movie. Cap sacrifices himself in this movie. Thor goes to go fix the 9 realms after all this is said and done. This is going to be epic. Now, I am 99% sure I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this movie. But, disclaimer, I don't think this movie can surpass Avengers 1. Just because there were so many things that we wanted to see. There was just so many things that we had never seen a comic movie do before. And for them to come out with 6 films that led to Avengers 1 and to see all these characters interact for the first time, we never got that before. And I am still geeking out over the lines, the comics, the action, the adventure, the commodity that these characters share together. And I just don't think anything is going to top that because we had never seen it before. Now, Avengers Infinity War is going to be damn good. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be epic. It's going to be sad. It's going to be funny. It's going to be actiony. But just that initial feeling of we've never seen this before. We're not going to get that again. It's just going to be impossible to recapture that. But we are going to enjoy everything this movie is going to have to offer. It's going to make a ton of money. That's for sure. Saying that is like saying you won't surpass Hot Shot number 6. Oh, shoot. Seriously, Mel? So are you saying that Hot Shot number 6 is your favorite issue? I didn't know that. See if he responds back. I worked a few years in the shop, but I'm not by any means any kind of informed opinion, just want to help. Yeah, so that's just what I think, but I think I'm definitely going to be entertained and enjoy this movie. I think this one is going to surpass Avengers 1. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to see it a few times because I know I'll have my initial reaction where I'm just like fanboying all over it, and then I'll have to be more critical.
Sorry, Steven.
Ramel, you must have heard me talking about you because I definitely shouted you out a couple times in this video as we were talking about some of the Dear Creative topics here, or the topic for Dear Creative and whatnot. But yeah, so that's all I got. So I'm going to wrap it up unless anybody has any more questions or anything like that. I will post my top 18 from 8. I already did the last 6, but I didn't have any time to do it this week for you guys. But I will post it in their creative chat. And actually, if you guys have enjoyed this time with me on Dear Creative, I'm going to post a link in here. You guys can go follow the Dear Creative event page that I have going. So that way you'll know when Dear Creative is going live, and you can post your questions in there. Any questions about making comic books, freelance, or anything like that, you can post right into Dear Creative, and I will answer those on the next episode. And Ramel Hill just reminded me here. Shout out to Mike Lancet for his book Master of the Edge. I got my copy. I posted online that I already had it. But man, the book was really freaking good, and I'm excited to see what he brings next from that book. Someday we'll be complaining about how the Freestyle Komics isn't true to the original comics. I hope we are. I hope I hope there are fanboys and girls complaining about my cinematic universe and how it's not lining up with the heart and soul of the comic books. That would just make my little geek heart. Last comment. As good as Avengers was, it had no threat, no villain. For that reason alone is why I think this one will be better. Ramel, that's a very, very good point. A lot of Loki fans will argue with you on that one. They'll disagree with you on that one. But that's a good point. And some of the stuff that people are saying is that Thanos is the truth in this new movie. Which is rare because I know the big complaint with Marvel is that their villains lack substance. I don't really have a complaint with the villains. I know some characters are just there to service the story. But here is the link to their creative, guys. Go ahead and share that out there. Join that. Follow that event page. I do it every Wednesday, and when I'm not doing it, I will post a notification to let you know. And this will be the schedule for it to the end of the year. So thank you for tuning in. Any questions that pop up or anything like that, I will answer them or take care of them next week. And I enjoy this time, and I appreciate you guys tuning in with me. Talk to you later.
You need somewhere else to be.
What?
There's no time.